Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. Okay, as we've now got dug out from what little snow we got here, at least, roads are cleared, things are good. I want to talk about something today about how your preparedness will set you head and shoulders above the rest of the population over the next 5 years. And I'm not talking about necessarily Armageddon or some EMP or nuclear war or an invasion or whatever next pandemic they come up with. I'm talking about just regular, the way the world is going type stuff, okay? You can imagine with the variety of topics I cover, I hate mornings in my voice, that I'm not just reading Fox News or OANN and saying, okay, no, I don't live in an echo chamber. That's not how you learn. What you have to learn is what the other side is thinking, what maybe the news that you don't want to hear, maybe the information that is contrary to your beliefs is what can help you prepare, okay? And in this case, I think it's very, very pertinent. Everybody's favorite person on the face of the earth, Klaus Schwab, okay, our buddy Chucky here, and his World Economic Forum recently put out their Future of Jobs Report 2025, okay? And it's important to know because maybe you hold some of these jobs and maybe they're going to disappear and all of a sudden your income goes poof, which of course then means, gee, how do I pay the mortgage? How do I pay the car payment, right? How do I pay the electric bill? How do I buy food? I mean, beyond Joe Biden's inflation, how do you buy food? Okay. According to the World Economic Forum, they predict 41% of companies worldwide, it's nearly half, plan to downsize their workforce by 2030 and replace them with artificial intelligence, AI. Okay? Now, if any of you guys have played around with ChatGPT or with Grok on Twitter or anything like that, it's, I don't want to say fun, but it's convenient, okay? You know, you can ask a question and get a better answer than doing a Google search, right? It's an advancement there. You may be able to draw a fun picture or something, you know, draw me as a cowboy in the Old West. You could do that. But the corporate plan for stuff like that is much bigger. According to what the World Economic Forum says, and believe them or not, but it's important that you know this so you prepare just in case they're right. That's the point, okay? Prep for the worst, hope for the best. Jobs such as postal clerks, payroll clerks, secretarial, legal, graphic design, those jobs are going to disappear. Do you hold any of those? And before people say, oh gee, it'll never happen, I remind you of all the self-checkout lanes at the grocery store. All those people who had jobs as cashiers, we don't need as many of you now. How hard is it for them to start replacing other positions? We've seen surgeries performed by robots. Amazon, most of the order pickers in the Amazon warehouses are robots, okay? And all of a sudden, the jobs that you and I hold aren't so important anymore. I mean, I'll go through two real quick. For me, Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was working on Wall Street, right? You wanted to buy Microsoft, you called up your broker. Don't need to anymore. Now you want to buy shares of Microsoft or whatever company, I'm using it as an example. You go online, go tap, 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 poof, you're done. You don't need me, okay? Sure, maybe there's need for people that are going to build you entire financial plans or something like that, but not the tens of thousands of analysts, order takers, et cetera, that we were when I was working there. Okay. That job would have been long gone, and I saw the writing on the wall. Wow. And I tried recording the video a second time already. This is time 2. The first one was worse. But going to my second job, okay? AI as a recruiter. My job was to contact people, et cetera, find people. Sure. At the beginning, it was reading paper resumes, putting ads in the newspaper. By the end, it was, even in with the Monster and Career Builder that came out, and it moved on. It progressed. Does my job exist that much anymore? Oh, sure. But how much could that be replaced by AI, right? Now you just put search criteria in and let the computer do all the recruiting for you. No problem. Many jobs could disappear. This is where your prepping comes into play. We all prep for major catastrophes, no question. But the minor ones, as I've said many times, are much more likely, like 100%, to hit you. Not necessarily a wildfire like California or Maui, or a hurricane like the Gulf Coast or the East Coast or Western Tennessee or Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina got. Those may happen. But a job loss, a death of a family member who was bringing income in, something as stupid as the transmission went out in my car, okay? Those are SHTF events. We all have to deal with them. What happens if you experience one of those? Have you ever been through it? God knows I have, okay? And if you're not lying to yourself, you have too. And if you remember how you got through it, maybe it was you were already prepped and you had stuff stored. You had money in the bank saved for a rainy day. You had food in the pantry saved for a rainy day, whatever. Maybe it was you were fortunate enough that family was able to help you. Maybe you were like, crap, I ain't got squat, okay? This is where we are. And if they are correct, and if they are figuring the way it should be, 41% of the companies worldwide are going to be laying off employees. Imagine what happens to your household, your neighborhood, your community, your city. Go ask Detroit. Go ask Pennsylvania. Go ask Ohio. What happens when an industry disappears, right? The auto industry, the steel industry, the coal industry, something like that. Go ask those people. When all of a sudden the town that you've grown up in turns into a ghost town because the major employer there just decided to lay everybody off. It happens. It's happened before. It will happen again. Those that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Okay. And people wind up having to figure out what to do. That's what we are about to do here. That's what we plan for. That's what we prep for. What happens if the economy implodes? Not necessarily nationally, but what happens if your household economy implodes or your community economy implodes? How are you going to be able to come out the other end? You need to take a look at this. This is silly, I know, we're talking about so many of us with snow on the ground. This week, guys, believe it or not, I start planting, not outside, but I will start cultivating my cabbage, my spring cabbage, and my beets. Yeah, middle of January. We're here already. As I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, it was time around Christmas time to start your sweet potatoes, to grow sweet potato slips for this year. Yeah, this is it. This is prepping for us. Maybe you live further north and it's not that time yet. Maybe you live further south and you're already way ahead of me. It's possible. Okay. But every time when you look at your preps and go, yeah, I'm good. I'm in good shape. No. You need more. How much food do you need? More. How much ammo do you need? More. How much water do you need? More. Why? Because none of us can predict how long any sort of catastrophic event is going to last. You go back to the Depression, which we may go into again. Who knows, okay? A recession is definitely on the way in. If it gets bad enough, it turns into a depression. You start taking a look at how long that lasted. That was a decade, guys. That was from 1929 until basically World War II is what pulled us out of it, the Depression. So, let's say history repeats itself. We go into an economic depression, and the only way out of it is a war. That means we go from, 1929 to 1945. Are you prepared for 16 freaking years of hardship? Let's use that term. When we get into AI taking over, I know you'll have people say Rise of the Machines or something like that. Go back to the movies, Terminator or Maximum Overdrive or something like that. Maybe that eventually happens. I don't see it personally in my lifetime. But this is very possible. This is the beginning. Because you look at all these crazy things that are going on, right? What do you want to bet that California is rebuilt as a 15-minute city, the Los Angeles area? I talked about the difference of zoning. We know about all the issues in Maui, trying to redo that in a different way. We know about Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, where you have the government coming in trying to buy all the land for pennies on the dollar. What town's next? Is it yours? Is it Palestine, Ohio? I don't know. We just poisoned the whole town. Okay. We'll just take over. Could it be, Trump wants Greenland. We'll annex Canada. What's going to happen? There are always repercussions for what happens. Mrs. P and I were talking about this one last night, that somebody floated the idea of, we could get Greenland real quick. There's 50,000 people that live there. Give them each $1 million and they'd be really happy, right? Sure. I mean, that'd be less money probably than we spent on the illegals in California, right? But what would instantly happen? How many hands do you think would go out in the United States? Where's mine? Right? Okay. There's going to be repercussions to everything. Whatever they try to do. We have an entire class of people, the elites of the world, the oligarchs of the world, that are trying to change the world into their vision. And they have competing visions. You know this, right? They want globalism, they want 15-minute cities, and then you get the other side, they want freedom, they want whatever. And this is a battle. We're just pawns. We're the ones, we don't really have any say in the matter on it. We just have to live through it. I mean, honestly, when they come through and say, you know what? We're taking your property. You're like, no, you're not. They're like, yeah, we're bigger than you are. We have the means to take whatever we want. And good luck trying to fight them. Okay. That's when pew-pews start getting used. But that could happen. If these oligarchs decide they want what's yours, what are they going to do? Geoengineer a storm? Burn it down? They're going to take it one way or another. Somehow, some way, we need to be prepared for everything that's going on, from the oligarchs, the globalists, from taking over the world. AI, right? There's certainly benefits to it. No question, all right? The idea is it's supposed to make a better quality product. It's supposed to be less expensive. But yeah, sometimes the less expensive part comes at the expense of you. We all talked about, gee, they want $20 an hour minimum wage, right? They're all going to get replaced. And what do we see? McDonald's comes in and puts kiosks in for you to order your food, right? Sure. They put the kiosks in. They replaced a bunch of workers. Did the price of a Big Mac come down? Nope. It went up. Okay. Because somehow that's got to get paid for. But less people have an income. Think about this when you're doing it. What happened? This is a very important question. Something like 90% of the United States lives paycheck to paycheck. It's ridiculous. Okay. The amount of savings we have is dwindling. We don't need to be that 10%. Or I'm sorry, we don't need to be that 90%. We need to be that 10%. That we have food put back, money put back, water put back, our bills paid, etc., etc., etc. So we can at least be the last one standing when the king of the world, whoever the hell that turns out to be, comes in to take over, to make you the plebe, to work outside their castle. You want to be the last one to have to submit. It's eventually going to come. It'll be the death of Earth. If that ever happens, that would be a global war like nobody's ever seen. And we'd wind up going back into periods like the Middle Ages, Mad Max, that scenario. That's what's headed for us. That they're going to try to eliminate all these jobs, replace us with technology, and they'll be the ones in control of the technology. And then, as usual, you'll get what they say you can have. I, for one, don't plan on submitting anytime soon. Pinball out.